importing text or changing, really it's about changing mostly times string values. I've used it to update, like dump out a bunch of users and they need their home directory changed, so then I'll dump it out, put the new, say, file server in, and then dump it back in, so it works. Anyways, I'm not going to get that involved today. I just wanted to kind of go over the replace function within PowerShell, and hopefully it'll make some sense. And hang on, I'm going to mute my Mac here because it's a little loud. Okay. And actually I'll mute my PC too. Anyways, I should have done that before we get going. So I have a little well, let's start with the easy one, right? So we're going to go with a let's create a variable. So we'll call this variable John, or let's call it var. Let's just call it var. So var for variable, right? And we'll call it, put it in quotes, and we'll say this is my variable. Hopefully I spelled that right. We'll put a period, right? So now we've got our variable. So now if I type var, this is my variable. So because this is a single line and it's you know, just a simple string as PowerShell seeing this, we can do var, and we can use a method, and there's one called replace. So let's say we actually wanted to make this an exclamation point. So what we do is we need to use the single ticks here, so that's a literal quote, and that's not, so even if you stuck a variable in here, it would just replace it as it sees it. It's not going to actually update it. The double quote would be if you wanted to have a variable between the quotes, but in this case we don't. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to put an exclamation point, and then we'll just close this out. So now we can see that this is my variable with period, and now everywhere it sees it there. So you know, say if I wanted, I could do the same thing with my. So my, and we could say our, right? This is our variable. But var still hasn't been untouched. So this is my variable, and that's the original. So hopefully that makes sense. I usually try to use a method when possible, but there are occasions where you need more. So, of course, my name is John, and my girlfriend's name is actually Jill, and everybody's like, oh, too bad you're not named Jack. Yeah, my girlfriend hasn't heard that her whole life. But, so I went ahead and pulled up the Jack and Jill poem from Mother Goose, I believe. And, you know, it's Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Hopefully you guys have seen this. This is something, at least in America, that I think every kid has heard. I don't know if this is popular outside the United States or not. So, but anyways, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, his head, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack got, and home did trot as fast as he could caper to the old Dame Dodd, who patched up his nod with vinegar and brown paper. I've heard different renditions. Usually the last few lines are a little different. Anyways, so we can also do this with files. So we could do, we'll do J and J. We'll call it J and J for Jack and Jill. And so we're going to do, actually let's do a get content, and we can do poem just to see. So that would be if we wanted to do that, right? I don't know if we can do a replace here. I don't think so, no. So you want to put this into a variable. So yeah, actually let's leave that as is, and we'll call this J and J equals. So now we have, right? So now it puts that whole thing in. So J and J. So now if we wanted to say, oh, well, since my name's John, everywhere there's John, so there's, you know, so we have Jack a couple times. We have 1, 2, 3, at least 3 times. Maybe I'm missing one. Anyways, so we can say Jack. Now we don't get the replace method here because it's, I think, more than one line, but we do get a property, or it's actually an argument. I call them arguments. I don't know. That's, I think, a Unix thing. But it's replace. So again, it's sort of the same thing. So at this point, we don't need the brackets, but we can we'll put the literals again in. And since John's so we'll say Jack, comma, and oops. We could use either, but I like literals when I'm doing replacement. So John, capitalize, right? And so now we can see John and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. John fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came, whatever. Up John got, and I think that's it. But yeah, as you can see, now there's no longer Jack in this poem, it's John. So you could do this all in one line, but I think it's best to, you always want to put your, especially if you're doing a get content, you want to put that in memory once, as long as it's not too large, and do that. So this could be handy, especially if you need to update like a CSV, or I've had CSVs that come across with like a weird character, and like I'll have maybe comma, 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 and then where I think there should be a comma, there's something else, and I'll have that, and hopefully that something else is unique. And I can have it go through and update. Like I had one document that came through and it was like $sign separated value, and nothing could really work with that. So I put, so I used basically this essentially replace, but I did, you know, the $sign and then a comma here, outputted that out. So if I wanted to output this out, I could do that, and we can actually just do it quickly, and we can say John.text, so this is sort of the old DOS way of doing it, but it basically just streams it right out to a text file, and we get John, and there's John. So we can do poem, and as you can see, this was the original poem, and you could put this out to a variable too. So you can see where John was, Jack is. So there's the files, and if you wanted to say do this to there, you could do it a couple different ways, but the easiest way would just be to call this what do we call the first one? Poem. Now we could say, let's call it poem John. We'll just say John so we know. And now poem John has the John in there, but we can still have poem. Oh wait, not poem. What was the first one? Oh, actually we didn't. Did we put that in there? No. Yeah. Oh yeah, J and J. That's what we did. So J and J. So as you can see, poem here has John and Jill, and the original is there. So anyways, replace is pretty handy for updating different things. I've never had to, if I've had to update things more than once, I sort of replace one thing at a time. It makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot too. If you're trying to update too many things at once, it can really screw things up. So I will do a variable per replace. I'm not sure if you can do multiple updates with replace, but I think it's a bad idea, because you wouldn't want, I feel like your data could get really munged if you're not careful and not testing properly. So anyways, I just wanted to give a quick video tonight, and hopefully somebody will watch this down the road. And if you like, give a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate it. You guys have a safe 4th of July. Tomorrow's 4th of July in the United States. So, or as a lot of people are calling it, the Brexit of 1776. So anyways, thanks guys. Bye.